everyone, and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara Breen. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Ava Vidal and Miles Jupp, Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Carl Donnelly. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of the Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, pounding the streets recently. But what does CFIP stand for?
Is it just a list of things that will be affected by the cuts? Is it children, families, industry, people?
Is it, in fact, his security code name, Charlie Foxtrot Irritating Prick?
Is it chipolata found in pocket?
Is it a recipe that he's just thinking of cooking that night? Is it caviar and fig-infused partridge?
Is it cops find iPhone pervert?
I reckon it must be a clever fellow in plimsolls.
Is it just pointing out what he's going through, which everyone goes through when they jog, which is clammy forehead, itchy privates?
Is it all part of his health regime? Is it Chancellor's finger inspects prostate?
All men over a certain age should have their prostate checked. That's just something we at Mock the Week support. Can I move you towards the much duller but correct answer?
It is Chancellor flees immense pigeon.
Yeah. It's more dull than that story.
OK. It is Chancellor faces increased pressure.
It's close enough. That'll do fine. Well done. Thank you very much. Cheers. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Chancellor facing increasing pressure. This is the news that Chancellor George Osborne is under increasing scrutiny as the British economy fails to improve. He also faces calls for an immediate implementation of new banking reforms and renewed arguments over the 50p tax rate. Have the bankers been let off the hook by the banking reforms, do you think?
Kind of, because they don't have to... it's all about them ring-fencing stuff. They've got a ring-fencing, which is the most dangerous event at the Olympics. I am totally representing Britain.
Basically, the gist, and this is the best analogy I could come up with for banking reform at the moment, which is you've got two halves of the office, right? The retail half, let's say, and the investment half, and they've got one biscuit tin, right? And the retail half take biscuits out of the biscuit tin, and they put more biscuits into the biscuit tin. And the investment half use the biscuit tin to take the biscuits out and lure children into paedophilia. So wait. Right. What we're saying is that that's got to stop. And in 8 years' time, you have to buy your own biscuits. That is essentially banking reform.
8 years is too long for banking reform, isn't it? I say let them do it in 2 years, and for every day they go over that, for every account they have, charge them a tenner and send them a letter.
The thing is that we all get very kind of wound up about it, but none of us ever change banks. Do we? We could easily change bank. Why how did you choose your bank in the first place?
Because I went into Lloyd's, I think, first, and they wouldn't accept my passport as a form of identification. Genuinely, I went in with an Irish passport, and your man went, don't think so. And they go off and they come back and say, I'm afraid we can't accept this. And I showed him visas to China and played that going, well, the Chinese government accepted this as a form. And he went, oh, well, Lloyd's. And he sang the song,
That's the best way to stop the bankers doing anything with our money, is to make them... Every time they want to do something, they have to go through a password check. And the question is what their mother's maiden name is, and they'd never be able to answer it because they're all bastards.
It's amazing how many people in Britain's password is actually the word password. That is how stupid a lot of people in Britain are. So if you ever want to crack a code, try password as the first one.
Why would anybody have the password? I mean, that's just stupid. Mine is 6791.
You're right, that's much easier to remember, Hugh. Thank you very much.
Vince Cable has said he's not happy with the 8-year time frame for the banking reforms. But let's face it, Vince Cable isn't happy with any 8-year time frame for anything because he's worried he'll be dead.
I was merely going to say not re-elected, but dead is harsh. Why has George Osborne been dragged into the phone hacking scandal?
Because he was already involved in it in the beginning.
He was formerly friends with someone who ran a prostitution distribution business. This lady claims that she and George Osborne took cocaine together. George Osborne,
he strenuously
denies taking prostitutes' cocaine.
And possibly all other forms of cocaine. We have to legally say that there's no... that he strenuously denies the thing. But she linked him to phone hacking. How, my friend?
Because her number was in Glenn Mulcair, the private investigator, engaged by the News of the World to listen to everybody in the country's phone calls. It was found in his file.
And do you know why I think this is a failed opportunity? This woman ran a high-class escort service and nobody's asked her what she thinks of the 50% tax rate. But if there's anyone who would have strong feelings of that, it'd be hookers, who after half an hour must be going, geez, I'm doing this for the government now.
Wasn't the agency, it was a specialist agency, wasn't it? It was called Black Beauties.
So, ponies?
No, it was all black women. Were you looking at me like that for?
Is she speaking? I thought you'd find it more polite. I'm happy to look over at Chris while she's speaking, but...
Thanks for you, Andy, whilst talking.
No, because I said it's called Black Beauties, you look at me like I was about to confess something. I just read it.
Would you see if she said it's Black Beauties and we all slowly turned away? Like that scene in 12 Angry Men. No.
It's amazing, isn't it, that they actually found out so much for the phone hacking? Because let's face it, if you've got anything important to say to people, you don't tend to leave it on their answer phone message. You go, oh, call us back, don't you? You don't go, oh, yes, I've booked all those prostitutes in Nazi uniforms and I've buried the body at the bottom of the garden. Anyway, let's hope nobody finds out about this. Call me back.
And I'm on the train.
Kind of story you would expect to see, wouldn't you? Hugh Grant's girlfriend says she's on train, she'll be about half an hour. Would Hugh like her to pick up some milk on the way back? Hugh Grant's mum says she doesn't really like talking to these sorts of things, she's going to put your dad on.
There were loads of people who had, like, their phone... Like, Sienna Miller had her phone hacked and said that she had messages that were deleted. Like, who cares? Do you know what I mean? It's not as though she'd missed out on Hollywood film roles.
That Rebecca Brooks is a tough woman, though, isn't she? She was married to Ross Kemp and she beat him up. That is a sad day when you've got to go around visiting gangs all over the world because it's safer than going home.
But there was another one, wasn't there, phone hacking this week?
There was, yeah.
Which was David Blunkett,
yeah.
wasn't it? And do you know how they know it was David Blunkett? Because when the phone's answered, there's a dog saying, Dave, it's for you, mate.
Surely he's one of the only ones you didn't need to sort of hack. You could just sneak up and just stand next to him.
That's very good. And the amount of fake photographs of him doing cocaine, because you just go, in any social situation, just put a plate filled with cocaine. Yeah, but it was mundane, because people just didn't change their codes on the thing. And their argument was, well, it was just there.
I think it's crazy that people don't change their code anyway. Mine's 6791.
It's easy for you to remember, isn't it? Because it's the year you were born, 67, followed by the year you lost your virginity.
Well, I'm pleased about that, because you've made me slightly younger than I actually am.
And it means you've had sex at least once.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Miles, Albert and Andy! Now we play a round called David Walliams Swims Through Muck. This game involves Alba, Carl and Miles, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launch a wheel of news, and whoever chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. Okay, here we go. The first subject is kids. Who wants to come in? Ava.
What kids want to wear these days is kind of shocking and scary. As a parent of a teenage daughter, I have to always be vigilant. And my daughter was trying to sneak out one day and she had this long coat on. It was done all the way up to the top. And women, we know what that means, right? The ones laughing are slags, because essentially what that means is, it means you're going out half naked, you don't want your mum to see your outfit. So I went, hold it, lady, open the coat. And she opened it. I went, there's no way in hell you're leaving my house dressed like that, because she'd squeezed herself into this lycra mini dress and it was all cleavagey and it had cut-out bits down the side. I was like, did I say you could borrow that? You have to be vigilant, and you have to warn your kids about the dangers out there. And I warned my daughter, and she turns around to me and she goes, I'm not scared of no weirdo pedo, because I've read I'm more likely to be sexually abused at home anyway. Which is ridiculous, because for a start, I don't find that girl attractive at all.
Okay, let's spin the wheel again. And the subject is health. Who wants to come in on that? Miles.
OK, well, health. I have recent experience of the medical profession. My wife and I, we have a little baby, and we had a home birth. If you mention the idea even of a home birth to people of an older generation, they're always instantly terrified, but that's just a generational thing, like racism and not indicating on roundabouts. They don't realise there's another way forward. But I myself, I have to say, quite nervy about the idea. On the one hand, I thought, is our sitting room really the safest place for us to have a newborn child, right? On the other hand, I did think it would be an excellent opportunity for us to get some new carpets. Perhaps take advantage of our extremely comprehensive home and contents policy. I waited till the head was showing. You've got to be sensitive. And then I tiptoed into the next room and got straight onto the phone to our insurance people. You know, I was excited. I mean, I was giving all the measurements I'd done them months ago, but they were, you know, a lot of questions. They asked a lot of questions, the insurance people. They wanted to know why my wife had attempted to give birth in every room in the house.
Thank you very much. OK, that leaves us with Carl. Let's see what you've been out with. Let's spin the wheel. The subject is marriage. Away you go.
Right, I recently got married, and it's actually all right. People moan about it. I think it's quite good. The only downside I've found is that I now get extra guilty when I mess up, which I didn't know about. But I learnt this in a baptism of fire when 2 weeks after we got married, I accidentally punched my wife in the face. It sounds worse than it is. I'm not making light of domestic violence. She went to make me a cup of tea, right? Normal sort of stuff. It was her round, right? And I was sitting in the front room watching TV, and I had a fight with a fly. Do you know when a fly is getting around your head and you can't get it? That happened for 5 minutes. She then came back with the teas, and it disappeared. So I thought, I'm not going to tell her. Let's just get on and drink these teas, right? We give it like 5 minutes to cool. Average tea cooling time, right? These teas are ready to go. She leans for her first sip, but I don't see that, because half a second before she leans, I spot that fly again. And he's coming from the corner of the room, so this time I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to look at him, I know he's there, right? I'm going to play it cool. I'm just going to carry on watching the TV. When he gets about there, I'm just going to go, yeah, right? I'm in the zone. I'm so in the zone, I don't see my wife lean into the flight path, right? She leans for her first sip of tea, and out of nowhere, I go... I punch her clean on the cheek, right? It's clean, and she goes flying onto the sofa. What must I look like to her? We've been married 2 weeks. She's made me a lovely cup of tea, and it looks like I've just punched her in the chops. She's crying on the sofa. I started crying. I've just punched my new wife. And it took me like 5 minutes to calm her down and explain about the fly. And to this day, I just can't believe she bought it.
There for Ava and Miles. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Miles, which category would you like?
Sport, please.
OK, your category is sport. The answer is 6.5 weeks. What is the question?
How do you express 45.5 days in weeks?
Is it how long before Wayne Rooney realises they've sellotaped a hamster to his head?
Is it how early do my parents get to the airport, just in case?
Is it what is the age of Lidl whiskey?
This whiskey's from late June.
Is it how long will we all get to enjoy retirement for before we die under the new pension rules?
Is it what is the amount of time between Kerry Katona earning a massive amount of money and declaring herself bankrupt again?
What was the previous British 10,000 metre record before Mo Farah came along?
Is it how long in the average year does the Queen spend trying to train her corgis to ride in a motorcycle pyramid?
Is it how long is Doctor Who's Tadger?
Very good space-time work there. OK, you got the correct answer,
Yes,
please.
it's after what length of delay will EasyJet give you a 50-quid voucher?
OK, correct answer for Cam, please.
Is it what the teacher said when a boy called Weeks got 6.5?
Is it how long will the Rugby World Cup last for?
Of course, it's very good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andy. Yes. The question I was looking for is, what is the duration of the Rugby World Cup that's currently taking place in New Zealand? The host nation kicked off the tournament on Friday when they beat Tonga. The World Cup final would take place 6.5 weeks later on Sunday, 23rd of October. Why so long?
Well, because that's the amount of time it takes.
That issue settled. If we only been this clear on the economy and knocked off at 9:15.
How much of the last 5 years can Charlie Sheen remember?
I don't kind of get rugby. I think rugby's like some muscular form of crazy golf. It's like a sport we know, but made funnily random. Oh, look, the ball has got a pointy edge. Where's it going to bounce? Oh, it's going everywhere.
This is a true fact. The Rugby World Cup boasts the highest concentration of tragically repressed homosexuality outside of a cabinet meeting.
Have you seen the England team? They're playing in all black.
Yes.
Which is confusing a lot of people, including a lot of New Zealand supporters, who suddenly now think that their team is shit. Well, I was thinking, if they're going to hate the All Blacks, why not go the whole hog and before the game starts, do a Morris dance?
But that's surely you can't just pick another teams. You can't just go in. Oh, we've disguised ourselves. So they won't know. Who will give the ball to? Could be me. Could be him. Who knows? You never know. We move like the wind. Gone. In other sporting news, what has David Walliams achieved this week?
David Walliams has swum down the Thames 150 miles, although they have released 500,000 tonnes of raw sewage into the Thames this week.
This was not in reaction to David Walliams swimming. It's not somebody with a giant... I'll get him. I didn't like that sketch on Little Britain about release the poo.
It is. He ended up, didn't he, in London? And it just made me think that actually swimming the Thames is very like politics, in that you start at Oxford, and if you can swallow enough shit, you end up at Westminster.
You get to snog a supermodel.
Yeah.
Did she kiss him straight away?
She probably said, "Oh, darling," wipe the face.
She's Dutch. She'd be fine.
What else did he manage to do along the way?
He rescued a dog.
He rescued a dog, yes, he did rescue a dog.
Just make it even more heroic. I think he's got a really dark secret he's just trying to overcompensate for. Like, you haven't seen Matt Lucas for a while. I reckon he's killed Matt Lucas.
This dog supposedly had a bad hip, right? And it's constant sessions of hydrotherapy. Did the dog really want to be rescued?
Maybe the dog jumped. Maybe it was a bark for help.
In other news, how is the search for Colonel Gaddafi going?
Really well.
Super! We checked under the desk, no sign. My guess is he's in Madame Tussauds posing as a Gene Simmons waxwork. Or Weatherspoons. He could hang out in Weatherspoons and nobody would bat an eyelid. If you walked into a Weatherspoons, there was a man wearing a blanket saying he'd killed people. Yeah, that's just normal, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been spotted there, hasn't he? He's been spotted in Niger, Burkina Faso and Algeria. So my theory is he might be on a very bizarre interrail trip.
What has he left behind, though?
Loads of stuff.
Yeah.
On his on the doormat of his compound, there was a letter saying, "Dear Colonel Gaddafi, a property that may interest you has just come vacant in Pakistan." We have another dictator who wishes to move into your area and is looking for a family-sized dictatorial compound.
My favourite picture was the guy with the jet ski. Like that guy. Like, you think that guy... He looks thrilled, but how many opportunities does that guy have to go jet skiing? He's just sitting there going, look at me, I go jet skiing.
They also found, like, a photo album with photos of Condoleezza Rice in.
This is the weirdest thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Full album.
Actually, it was probably a prospectus from Black Beauties.
When you rent somebody from Black Beauty, do they do the theme tune? Because that would be
You
cool.
rent? Is that how you see it? You rent them, don't forget to rewind your prostitute before you take her back.
I'm sorry, am I stripping the dignity away from prostitution there? I apologise for that. No. You're doing most of this for the government, you know.
After half an hour.
After half an hour. Half an hour.
I like your side-to-side rocking motion, though. I'd suggest that's quite an unusual technique. But I don't know much about Ireland.
At the end of that round, the points go to Miles, Alva and Andy. Now we come to scenes we'd like to see, so if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics, and then we'll see what our panellists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely lines from a horror film.
You've got a flat screen TV and brand new trainers. I know what you did last summer.
I'm sorry, it's just you look nothing like your photo in Match.com.
Is there anybody there? Can you hear me? Is there anybody there? This is the Christian O'Connell Breakfast Show.
That was Mayor Boris Johnson with his official statement on the riots.
You seen the traffic? It's a nightmare on Elm Street.
And now, Alan Bennett's long-awaited remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Nantwich Leaf Blower kerfuffle.
What do you want? What do you want? No, I'm not paying too much for my car insurance.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. So I gave Mark's dinner party an 8.
Do you like scary movies, Sydney? Oh, sorry, is Sydney there, please?
If you don't keep up payments to your exorcist, there's a danger that your home will become repossessed.
Ha! Joke's on you, Dracula. I've got AIDS.
I ate his liver with some jelly beans and a nice ombongo.
I've seen the ring! I wish that builder would pull his trousers up.
I don't have to listen to you.
You're just a puppet. If you don't shut up, I'm going to put you back in your box, Mr. Clegg.
I'm afraid he's been bitten by George Michael. He's turned into a vampire.
OK, the next topic is commercials that never made it to air.
Have you got a wicked side? Then you're a prick.
Take 2 bottles into the shower. Not anymore. I've got a proper dildo.
JD Sports. 2,000 looters can't be wrong.
Do you suffer from dull, lifeless hair? Don't worry, Andy Parsons will buy it off you.
With ABS, sat-nav and airbags, this may be the most advanced condom you ever buy.
How much did you say you earned for those Direct Line car insurance adverts? Well, people deserve to hear about this. Honk, 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 honk.
Dara O'Brien. We work, so he doesn't have to.
Cash for cash. Send us your cash in an envelope and we'll send it back, minus commission.
Every year, thousands of bears are captured, tortured and forced to dance in front of crowds of cheering people. Call 0845 now for ticket hotline.
Ash for cash. Put your cremated relatives in an envelope.
Got that bloated feeling? My uncle had that. He was dead in a week.
Smash for cash. Put in mashed potato in an envelope.
Don't just book it, Thomas Cook it. Dignitas in Switzerland.
Why have we got barbecues at low, low prices? Because the summer's been shit and no one's bought them.
At the Dogs Trust, we never put down a healthy dog. But the minute one coughs, it's in the Thames.
Do you suffer from unsightly chest hair? Should have gone to Peck Shavers.
Lynx. Come on, virgins, wash your cocks.
OK, at the end of that round, points go to Chris Hugh and Carl. And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Ava Vidal, Miles Jupp. Commiserations to Chris Allison, Hugh Dennis and Carl Donnelly. Thank you for watching and Good night.